Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. We are excited to offer today two presentations. We have Stacy from our Say Yes Scholarship Department and her intern Nia with us. And we also have April with us from the UB FAFSA Completion Project. So these are two very important components as you are transitioning into college. You're going to learn about our scholarships and how to fill out the FAFSA application. So parents, I'm sure that you're happy to hear that we are offering this assistance to you tonight. So please join us. We have Stacy. I'm going to turn it over to you first. Welcome and thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm actually going to start. Thank you for that introduction. My name's April Stromer, and I'm an AmeriCorps member currently serving as the coordinator for the FAFSA Completion Project at UB. And here's my email and work phone number. If anybody wants to jot that down, feel free to reach out to me with any financial aid questions that you might have come up over the next couple of weeks. Okay, so today I'm going to talk to you guys about basically two main components of financial aid. First, we have the federal side of financial aid for college, and that's filling out the FAFSA, or the free application for federal student aid. And then we have the state side of financial aid for college, and that's applying for TAP, or the Tuition Assistance Program, and we apply to that through Hesk. Both of these components of financial aid for college are really important for everybody wanting to go to college in New York State, but specifically important for Buffalo City School students, because in order to receive your Say Yes scholarship tuition, your tuition scholarship each semester and year you go to school, you must fill out your FAFSA and TAP. So we're just going to talk about the steps to do that. So the first step is just gathering your materials. This is what typically takes people the most time on the front end. So the necessary materials that you're going to need in order to create your account for FAFSA, called your FSA ID, and actually fill out the FAFSA. We need a valid email address for everybody creating an account. So every student who's applying and filling out a FAFSA needs to set up an FSA ID or an account to work through their FAFSA. If they are financially dependent on their parents, one or both parents needs to also make an account as well. So they will also need a valid email address. We also need everybody's social security numbers, your parents' birth dates, when they got married or divorced, if that's applicable to you, if you have an alien registration number. And we're also going to need tax records from 2 years prior. And when I say 2 years prior, I'm talking about 2 years prior for the year that you're applying and you need aid. So this year, we're applying for your freshman year of college. So that's the 2020-21 school year. So 2 years before 2020-2021 was 2018. So for this year, they're going to need information from your 2018 tax return, and also any information from W-2s or other documentation of money earned from other sources. So that's basically all the materials you need to complete FAFSA and your TAP application. And every year, the FAFSA opens up to complete for the following year on October 1st. So on October 1st, 2020, the FAFSA will open up so that you can apply for the 2021-2022 school year. And the earlier that you fill out the FAFSA, the better. On the first day, on October 1st, there's a huge pot of money to be awarded out to students in the form of grants, loans, scholarships. So the earlier you apply, the better chance you have at getting more of that money. And institutional deadlines vary. So most schools' deadlines are around May 1st, but each school and institution varies as to when they need you to submit your FAFSA by. So it's always good to check up early on when that deadline is for the schools that you're interested in. And then it's always good to remember for financial aid, first you have to FAFSA. So before you do anything else, it's always good, financial aid wise anyway, before you do scholarships, you have to do FAFSA. And before you even work on your TAP application, you have to do FAFSA as well. TAP, you actually won't be able to start the TAP application until they get your information from FAFSA. So now that you've gathered all of your materials and your parents have gathered all their materials, now you're ready to actually create your FSA ID. So you can do that by going to fsaid.ed.gov. And like I said earlier, one account for the student and one for the parent if the student is dependent financially. At this stage, you're going to need a valid email address and your social security number in order to create the account. If you have an older sibling that's gone to college and mom or dad has already created an FSA ID account, they're going to have to get back into that account rather than create a new one. It won't let you create a new account if you've already created one before. So once everybody who's applying with you has their account set up, you're ready to go in and actually fill out the FAFSA itself. So like I said earlier, FAFSA stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. So we're filling out an application to be eligible for federal student aid, money to go to college. And we can fill this out by going to fafsa.gov. And like I said before, you have to FAFSA. So before you do anything else, you have to make sure that you fill out this application. And like I said earlier, every year it opens on October 1st, and you have to apply every year. So when you apply this year, the aid that you receive is only eligible for the 2020-21 school year. So every fall, you got to go back in and reapply if you plan on attending school the following year. So different questions that they ask in here is about household size, where you plan on going to college, if you're going to live on campus, if you're going to live off campus, if you have other people living with you that are going to college. And again, that tax information from 2 years prior, all of this is to kind of paint a picture about the situation you're in and how much money you're going to need in order to go to college. So it's actually, even though it's a very long application, it's pretty convenient for you because instead of filling out financial aid applications at each individual college or university, you can list every college, up to 10 colleges, on the FAFSA, and all of this information is automatically sent out to them. So not only are you eligible then for federal loans, grants, you're also eligible for different grants and scholarships that the schools offer themselves. And through the federal government, students can be eligible for a Pell Award or a grant of up to $6,345 per academic year for all colleges and universities. And grants never have to be paid back, so that's a really good chunk of change each year. And like we said earlier, you must complete FAFSA each year in order to be eligible for Say Yes Buffalo Tuition Scholarship. So now that you've completed your FAFSA and submitted it, you can go ahead and create your Hesk account. So what is Hesk? Hesk is the Higher Education Service Corporation, and it's New York State's higher education student financial aid agency. So basically they run a bunch of different programs to make it affordable for New Yorkers to go to colleges in New York State. So specifically, our students apply for TAP, which is New York State's Tuition Assistance Program. And students can be eligible for another grant of up to $5,165 per academic year. And this applies to only schools in New York State. So it doesn't apply to schools outside New York State. And this application is a separate application from the FAFSA. A lot of people think that once they finish their FAFSA, they're done with financial aid, but that's only half of financial aid. So that's the federal side, and this is the state side. So like we did with the FAFSA, where we created an FSA ID, username and password, we're going to do the same thing with the Hesk account. So the student will create a Hesk username and PIN. The great thing about this is mom or dad, if they're applying with you, they don't need to create an account as well, just you, the student. And you can do that by going to tap.hesk.ny.gov. But first, you have to wait until Hesk receives your information from FAFSA. And this is to verify all of your information, like your social security number, your address, things like that. And to also make sure that you are applying and have listed a New York State college on the FAFSA. So yeah, that's how you create the Hesk account. And once you create the Hesk account, same thing, now you're ready to go in and actually fill out the TAP application. And again, before you fill out the TAP application, you need to make sure first you have to FAFSA. Hesk actually won't even let you start the TAP application if they haven't received your FAFSA information. So you can set up your Hesk account, but then it won't let you start TAP until they get that information, typically about 3 business days. And they'll send an email to the email that you use to create and fill out your FAFSA, prompting you to start your to create your Hesk account and start the TAP application. And because they get some of the information from FAFSA, some of the areas are pre-populated with the information you provided. Again, like social security number, your address, your name, things like that. If you're applying as a dependent student, your parents just have to provide their name, social security number, and some New York State tax information, again from 2 years prior, so this year, 2018. And since you already dug out those tax returns to fill out the FAFSA, hopefully it's easier to get your hands on that information. We're also going to need the marital status date, again, same thing that they asked in the FAFSA. And we also need their New York State ID number in order to sign it. If they don't have a New York State ID, that's okay. They can fill out a form electronically and email it over to Hesk. And again, you must complete the TAP application each year in order to be eligible for the Say Yes Buffalo Tuition Scholarship. So that's the state side of financial aid, the TAP application. So here are just some useful tips when thinking about financial aid and as you're working through this process. Submit your FAFSA and TAP application as soon as possible every year. The applications, although they are apparently designed to be user-friendly, there's always hiccups that come up, things that you're unsure of. Maybe it takes you a little bit longer to get your hands on your tax returns or what have you. So it's always a good idea to get a head start on this. You know, on October 1st, every year, get those wheels turning, start getting your documents in order, make sure you can get into your account, all that good stuff. That brings me to my next point. Always record your account information in an accessible and safe place. So when I was in college, I would always, in my phone, put my FAFSA username and password and Hesk username and PIN in a note in my phone. And I also had I took a picture of it on a piece of paper and sent it to my mom. Something that you think will keep your information safe. Because like I said, every year you're going to have to go back into the same account and reapply. And you might have to make corrections, add colleges. So you want to be able to get into your account, no problem. You also want to make sure to keep important documentation safe and accessible. So now that you know every year you have to look at your tax returns in order to apply for financial aid, it's a good idea to keep those now in a safe place. So when you're filing and get your 2019 tax return, file it away in a safe place, save it on a good spot on your computer and on your email so that it's no problem when you need it. And finally, use your resources. So as BPS students, you have access to New York Gear Up if you're in a Gear Up school, and you also have access to the FAFSA Completion Project. So Monday through Friday, 12 to 6, we have open office hours. You can come and get assistance from college access specialists, and you can always, of course, reach out to myself directly. And then once you're at college, your best resource is your school's financial aid office. They have an entire team of people who are very well versed in FAFSA and TAP and might even know about additional scholarship opportunities for you. So yeah, that's the end of my half of the presentation. So I'll turn it over to any questions that anybody might have.
Thank you, April. We do have some questions for you.
Okay.
Let's just put them up here. What is the difference between FAFSA and the financial aid package?
So FAFSA is the application that you're filling out in order to be eligible for financial aid. So when you get a financial aid award letter or your financial aid package, it's going to list out all the different grants and loans that you and scholarships that you are eligible for based upon your FAFSA.
Thank you. And what is the difference between your financial aid and your award letter?
So I guess it's more or less the same thing. Financial aid is kind of a thrown around word. I feel like it's kind of one of those blanketed things, but when you break it down, financial just means money and aid is to just assist. So when anything financial aid is just talking about any kind of money you're using to assist you in going to college, more or less. And you said, what's the difference between financial aid and award letter?
Yes.
And so, yeah, so your award letter is the letter that you would get from the college or university once they receive your information from your FAFSA. And the way that they get that information is in the school selection part of your FAFSA. You're able to add up to 10 colleges, and then all of those colleges will automatically get the information that you provided on your FAFSA. And then the colleges use that information to then generate your award letter, where you see, oh, I've been qualified for work study, I've gotten the Pell Grant, I've gotten my TAP, I'm eligible to take out this loan, my parents eligible to take out this loan. And then from that award letter, you can kind of pick and choose. You can say, okay, I definitely want the Pell Grant, because you don't have to pay that back. Definitely want the TAP, but I don't want to take out loans and I don't want to do this. So that's kind of how an award letter works.
Thank you. A few more questions. I think it's really important to highlight that TAP and Pell, you do not have to pay that money back, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
And,
that's correct. They're grants.
okay. And is it true the longer you wait to complete the FAFSA application, the less money you could be awarded? Is that true?
It's not necessarily set in stone true, but like I explained earlier, on October 1st, the federal government has X amount of dollars to give out in the form of a Pell Grant. But if you wait until the absolute last day to fill it out, there might not be as much money left over. And, based upon your answers, you might have been eligible for more money, but because there isn't as much money left, you might get a reduced amount. So it's always just a good idea to submit things early so that you're eligible for as much money as possible.
Okay. And then say you have parents that live in different households, but you primarily live with, say, mom. Do you require both incomes or just the parent you're living with?
So FAFSA requests that you report the parent that you spend 51% of your time with. So a lot of questions sometimes is, oh, well, I know the dad claims them on the taxes, but he lives with mom. So shouldn't the dad do it? It doesn't matter at all who is claimed on the taxes. It's more who is really more responsible for the child. And that can really be up to the discretion of the student and the parents.
Okay. A couple more questions. How long about does it take to fill out the FAFSA application?
So if you have all your materials ready in front of you, ready to go, 30 minutes maximum, I would say. We would do events before distance learning, and if parents would come in with their, also it's always great when the parent is sitting with the student, if the parent is applying with them, and they had all their materials from start to end, from creating the FSA ID to submitting the FAFSA would be maybe 45 minutes. So like I said, gathering those materials is really what eats up so much time.
Sure. And do you guys have like an appointment where people can sign up to work one-on-one with a representative?
So we don't have necessarily a way to set up a one-on-one appointment, but we do have open office hours Monday through Friday, and that's on Zoom, and it's 12 to 6 p.m. Our last day is June 26th. That's a Friday. And students can join whenever they want. They don't need an appointment, and they can get help with FAFSA, TAP, Say Yes, scholarships, even if they need help, finishing up things with college. as well. And I can share that link if you don't have it. But also if those times don't work for you, or if you would rather schedule something, you can definitely email me and we can work something out, definitely.
Wow, we are extremely grateful for your services. So we appreciate you being here with us today. Thank you very much. If you could please send me that link and we will put it in the chat box. So
No
next
problem.
up, we have Stacy Rankin and Nia Morse. They are with the Say Yes Scholarship Department. So they'll be going through how to apply, who is eligible, how you become eligible. So thank you and welcome, Stacy and Nia.
Thank you, Joelle. Yes, so my name is Stacy Rankin. I'm the scholarship coordinator for high school. So I primarily work with the high school seniors while transitioning through to college. So helping with the Say Yes application, the financial aid process, and the whole entire college process if needed. And then my colleague Yolanda Gatewood, she'll work primarily more with the college side of students. So once you're in college, if you have questions, she would be more the person that you would direct your questions to at that point. So we're going to start out by just going over who's eligible for a Say Yes scholarship. So some of the requirements are you have to be a resident of the city of Buffalo. So you have to live in the city of Buffalo. So even if you attend a charter school that's located in the city of Buffalo, but you don't reside, you would not be eligible. So that's one of the reasons why you may file a Say Yes appeal, which I'll talk about a little bit later. If at any point you're not eligible for a scholarship, you can file an appeal, and we'll go over that too. So one of the big eligibility requirements is that you have to be continuously enrolled in a Buffalo public or charter school at least since the beginning of 9th grade. So that means September of 9th grade through graduation. So if you don't start 9th grade until November, you wouldn't be eligible. Or if you don't come into the district until 10th grade, you wouldn't be eligible, unfortunately. So it has to be that beginning, that September of 9th grade through graduation. And then you have to graduate from a Buffalo public or charter high school, along with enrolling in one of our partner schools within 1 year of high school graduation. So you can take up to 1 gap year off or 2 semesters total. But after that time, if you took off more than that 1 year, you would lose your eligibility again. And again, you have to apply for financial aid each year. So that's the FAFSA and TAP, which you'll hear both April and I repeat that numerous times. So even if your family doesn't qualify to receive any money from FAFSA or TAP, you still have to complete that application each year. So Say Yes is a tuition scholarship. So we only help with tuition currently. So we do not help pay for books, room and board, fees, anything like that. So tuition is just one portion of the cost of attendance to go to school. So as you can see, tuition ranges depending on what school, what college you want to go to. So anywhere from $4,000 to $50,000 more. And then that's the same thing for fees, room and board, and books. So you want to make sure you budget that in. Do you need to take a loan? You want to look for those other outside scholarships that'll help you pay for those items ahead of time. A good scholarship to look into that's available each year for students is the Community Foundation for Greater Buffalo. They offer a scholarship up to $6,000 a year to students, and that can be used towards costs beyond tuition. So you want to make sure when you're applying in the fall for financial aid, that's also a good time to start looking at scholarships, outside scholarships besides Say Yes, to help pay for those other items too. And then how we calculate your Say Yes scholarship is we take the cost of full-time tuition. So we're just gonna say your tuition is $10,000 and you're gonna receive $4,000 in financial aid through FAFSA and TAP. So that means your remaining tuition balance is $6,000. So Say Yes is a tuition guarantee scholarship. So what that means is Say Yes is guaranteeing that we will pay either all of your tuition or a portion of your tuition remaining after your financial aid is taken into account, depending on your situation and where you're deciding to go to school. So potentially Say Yes would cover $6,000 because that would be your remaining tuition balance, depending on, like I said, where you're gonna go. And then if you are taking out loans or you receive any outside scholarships, those would come in after Say Yes. So those could be used towards your books, your fees, anything like that. Unless that scholarship states specifically that it is tuition based, then it would be used again after the Say Yes would come in. Now we're going to talk about the different types of this Say Yes scholarships. So first, we're going to talk about if you want to attend a Suny or Cuny school. So you can attend any of the over 70 Suny and Cuny schools throughout this state. And it's based how long you've been continuously enrolled in that Buffalo public or charter school without any breaks. So anything more than 2 weeks out of the district is considered a break. So keep that in mind. So if you've been in those since kindergarten, 100% of your tuition is going to be paid if you want to go to Buff State after your financial aid. So if you want, and then same thing, if you came in 8th grade, 65% of your tuition is going to be covered after your financial aid if you choose to go to Buff State or one of the other Suny or Cuny schools. If you've been garden and you stay through 6th grade, but then you leave for 7th and 8th grade and come back in 9th, your continuous enrollment is going to pick back up in 9th grade. So those previous years aren't going to count because you had those 2 years off. So you would only be 65%. So it's a little tricky in that sense, but it's based solely on, like I said, how long you've been continuously enrolled. We have an opportunity grant that's available for students if they live on campus at a Suny or Cuny school. So this grant offers up to $2,000 for the year, and this money can be used towards room and board if you choose to. This is if you attend a Suny or Cuny school, live on campus, and if you receive the maximum Pell Grant for that year. Because potentially, if you're receiving the maximum amount of Pell, your tuition's already going to be covered by financial aid. So Say Yes, then we'll give you that $1,000 each semester, $2,000 total that you can put towards your room and board or books and fees. Now, if you want to attend one of our private partner schools, which we have over 100 private partner schools currently, you would have to meet the admission criteria for that school, get accepted, and you would still have to be a City of Buffalo resident and complete at least grades 9 through 12. Now, for the private schools, it doesn't matter if you've been continuously enrolled since kindergarten, 5th grade, or 9th grade, as long as you at least have that 9 through 12 to make you eligible. What does matter, however, is your family income. So if your family income is below $75,000 or less, you would be eligible for that full tuition scholarship. Some of our private partners, some of the private local partners offer only a limited number of these scholarships. So you would want to look on our website for a full list, and we have them highlighted. For instance, Niagara University, they only take 3 Say Yes scholars currently. So what I recommend to students is if you want to go to one of those schools that only take a certain number, apply, get accepted, and then I would reach out to that school to let them know I'm a Say Yes student. What do I need to do to be one of your 3 students to receive this scholarship? Because the schools choose the scholars. We don't. We just let them know that you are eligible. And then if your family income is above $75,000 and you're going to a private school, you'd be eligible for our choice grant. So our choice grant offers students up to $5,000 towards the tuition costs. And same eligibility requirements, you just have to be continuously enrolled since 9th grade. Some of the student responsibilities, you must have all your information updated by October 15th each year for the fall semester and February 15th for the spring semester in order to receive your scholarship. If you're late on completing financial aid or updating your Say Yes account and you don't do it until November, possibly you may not get a scholarship for that year. We are lenient, but we do have these guidelines for a reason, because we want all students to be able to get this scholarship in a timely manner for the school. So you need to make sure by October 15th for the fall and February 15th for spring, you have your Say Yes application complete. And when you're completing your application, if you have or have not done it yet, you want to make sure that the email that you use is your personal email address. Do not use your high school email address, because that gets turned off after graduation and we won't be able to contact you, because we send out updates about different programming or events going on, and we want to make sure that we have a good contact email for you and that you can take part in all these events that are going on. And also you want to make sure that you update your Say Yes account with your college of enrollment that are choosing to go to. So make sure, if you have not done so already, that you have to log into your Say Yes account and then update your school information to let us know that you're going to be going to UB in the fall. If you don't let us know where you're going, we don't know where to send your Say Yes money to. So you want to make sure you take care of that. And that would be the same for if you're going to start off somewhere and then you decide to transfer, whether it's you start at ECC and then transfer to Buff State. You want to make sure that then you're going to have to make sure you log back in and update that information that you're going to be transferring. And then you have to complete your financial aid paperwork too by this date. So that's the FAFSA, the TAP, and verification if you get chosen for that. Some more responsibilities as the student are that you have to remain in college full time. And then you have to pass at least 12 credit hours per semester. So you have to earn 12 credit hours a semester and maintain at least a 2.0 or better for that semester. We look at each semester separately, not at your cumulative average. So you want to make sure each semester you have at least 12 credit hours earned and 2.0. So 12 credit hours is about 4 classes. Most classes are 3 credit hours a piece. So if at any point you fall below either 12 credit hours or 2.0 for a semester, we'll give you a warning period. We'll put you on probation. You'll still get your Say Yes scholarship, but we're going to send you an email and give you the information saying, I'm sorry, you just to make sure that you're aware of, you're on probation, you're still going to get your award, but make sure you do better this semester so that your GPA is better and that you don't have to worry about, and you'll be back in good academic standing. If you fall below a 12 credit hours or 2.0 2 semesters in a row, you will lose your eligibility for that following semester. So you want to make sure that you're on top of your classes and your grades, because if you're only registered for 4 classes and say in October you decide I'm going to drop this one class, I'm not really, feeling it, I'm not going to do well, then you need to make sure you pick up another class, because right there, then you would drop that class, you'd be down below the 12 credit hours right away. So you want to make sure you keep on top of those things and don't fall below those more than 2 semesters in a row. Again, apply for financial aid each year and make sure you log into your Say Yes account, we ask, and just make sure all of your information is up to date. If your email's changed, your phone number, address, anything like that, we want to make sure that we stay in contact with you. Excuse me. This is just an example of how you're going to go in and add your college if you have not. So once you're logged into your Say Yes account, on the left-hand side, you would go to My Colleges, and then you would click Add School. You may already have some schools in there that you had listed when you first applied, because maybe you filled out this application in the fall or early spring, but at that point you didn't know where you were going to go yet. So you would just have to click on that school. And then you want to make sure you check that enroll box. That's the important part. Check the enroll box and then the semester and the year. So for current freshmen going in, the semester would be fall, the year would be 2020, 2021. And then once you say that, that's how we know that that's the school that you chose. And you can only select one school each semester. So you don't have to go back in. If you go to Buff State and that's where you stay your full 4 years, you don't have to do that each year. It's in there. And you also may want to check your Guardians tab, which is also on the left-hand side of your account. And you want to make sure you have someone listed and approved, because if you're a parent or guardian, you have someone call our office on your behalf. If they're not listed on your account, we can't speak to them about your information. We are limited in what we can share with that person if they are not an approved guardian on that list. So make sure you do that so that way if they do have any questions. One of the questions we get a lot, especially over the summer, is when will I receive my scholarship money? Or it may not be listed on your award letter, things like that. So payments aren't actually made to the colleges until after October 15th and February 15th for the fall and spring semesters. We make sure that we verify that the enrollment is that you are there at the school and that you haven't left prior to drop, add, withdraw, things like that. So we're not going to send money out before those deadlines happen at the schools. If you haven't completed your financial aid process, so that's the FAFSA and TAP, successfully, or there's something missing by these dates, again, your Say Yes scholarship might be delayed, or you may not be eligible to receive one that semester, depending on the timeline of when you get those completed. The funds are sent to the college after all financial and academic information is received by Say Yes. So what that means is we send a list to the school saying, Stacy's on the list to attend Buff State, please send back her information. So the school then has to send back all your financial and your academic information for us. And that's how we know what scholarship and how much you're going to be receiving. So if you're eligible for that opportunity grant, that's the one at a Suny or Cuny school where you can live on campus and get that additional $2,000 to use towards room and board. That's all going to come from the information that we receive from the college. You don't have to apply separately or anything like that. It's just going to come once we receive that information from the college. So sometimes things are delayed depending on when that school sends us the information to us. So it's a process of communicating back and forth that we work to try to get all the payments out as soon as we can by around October 15th. And then your funds will be sent directly to the college. We do not send them to the students at all. They go directly to the college. So you don't even have to worry about anything. And then each year we have a college kickoff for our graduating seniors. This year we're going to hold a virtual college kickoff. It's going to be Friday, June 26th from 1 to 3. And this is for all graduating Buffalo Public or Charter School students. Even if you're not eligible for the scholarship portion, we still encourage you to attend. So this is an opportunity that you're going to be able to hear from current college students and what it's been like for them to transition to college during a pandemic and what that was like for them. Along with, you'll be able to speak to college representatives, hopefully from the college that you're planning on attending. And then also you'll be eligible for a free laptop possibly. So keep a lookout. We'll be sending an email and a flyer home, and registration will be up soon for that. But that's another reason why we need to make sure those emails are up to date, because we're going to send emails out. And if your email hasn't been up to date or it's changed or you typed it wrong, those are things you may want to check just so you can keep up on this information. And now I just would like to have our current intern, Nia. She's going to speak briefly about some of her experiences at Say Yes and go from there.
Hi, I'm Nia Morris, and I am a sophomore at ECC. I did transfer from Suny Fredonia, and this experience with Say Yes is very unique, especially now being the scholarship intern. I work with both Stacy and Yolanda to make sure that high school students and college students are almost seamlessly able to get through their college experiences with even the financial struggles that may come with it, or even any financial questions that they have. I'm there to answer them and help in any way that I can. I am also a part of the mentoring program and the internship program. So being a part of both of those programs are very interesting. One, because my mentor is also a part of the internship department. My mentor is Stephanie Pete. So being a part of the mentoring program affects largely the internship program, because there are so many people within the mentoring program that I am able to network with outside of Say Yes, but also within Say Yes. So many people that I know within Say Yes that are a mentor to me also are my colleagues at the internship. So they help me learn more about Say Yes and help me learn more about what the process is like for different students who may not have the same experience as me. I know transferring from Suny Fredonia to ECC was a remarkable transition for me, simply because I never had understood all of the things that were required to make sure that that process could be seamless for me, as far as like making sure that you have your transcripts updated, making sure that you update your Say Yes account, and making sure that you stay in tune with Say Yes updates and things of that nature, so that you can have the financial aid that you may need or other types of aid that Say Yes provides for transitioning from one college to the other. I also did an internship last summer at Young Audiences of Western New York with my internship program, which allowed me to grow some more event coordinating skills and also be able to network more with people that are in the arts and diversity parts of my career. I am a theater major at ECC and Fredonia. So learning the different ins and outs of the network there and being able to also tie it back into my environment at Say Yes has been very helpful to my experience. I am available for any student that may have any questions about what the Say Yes process looks like, or if any questions about your Say Yes, or how to make your process to college or your process that you're going through in college right now more seamless. I'm here to answer any questions. And yeah.
Thank you so much, Nia, for sharing your story and being so involved with Say Yes. This is exactly what we want students to do, is take advantage of all the programs that we do offer. I have a question. It says here Fredonia and ECC.
Mhm.
Does that mean you're taking like some classes at ECC and enrolled at Fredonia?
No, I used to go to Suny Fredonia and then I relocated back to Buffalo. And so now I'm at ECC.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much for
No
sharing.
problem.
And how can students get a hold of you for any advice in this time at this time right now as they are looking to transition into college for the fall?
Students can get a hold of me at my email. It is nmorris@sayyesbuffalo.org.
And Morris at sayyesbuffalo.org. Okay, we'll be sure to put that in our chat. Thank you so much, Nia. Miss Stacy, I do have questions for you. Okay, so we have here, if a student is attending a Say Yes private partner college out of state, do they need to apply for TAP each year in order to receive the Say Yes scholarship?
They do not. However, we recommend, especially at the beginning, maybe you're going into your freshman year, that you still complete the TAP in case your plans change. Because a lot of times students want to go out of state, have that idea, and then August comes and plans change, life happens. So that way it's already done. I mean, if you're there your first year, you know you're going to stay, then no, you don't have to complete it. So it's not a requirement if you're going out of state, but we still recommend, especially those for that first year, to complete it still in case anything changes. You have it already done and you don't have to go back and do it and go through the process of the waiting.
Thank you. And our audience wants more information about this college kickoff. Where could they go to find it?
Coming soon, hopefully by the end of this week. If not, early next week, we will have more information. So we'll have information on our website. Like I said, we'll be sending out emails to all the seniors. We'll be sending out a flyer home. So keep a lookout. We'll have it posted on all the schools' websites through Schoology, and the guidance counselors will have all the information too.
Thank you. For high school juniors, when should they start preparing their paperwork to apply for FAFSA in the Say Yes scholarship application?
You can't complete FAFSA until October 1st. You can't start that process of your senior year. So, I mean, if you know your paperwork, you could kind of start to gather it before then, but you can't actually sit down and do it. Along with the Say Yes scholarship, in the past, we usually aim for an October 1st opening for that school year for seniors. Sometimes it's a little different depending on the date, depending on where we are, but usually October 1st is when we also start opening up the application for seniors. But prior to that, I always recommend students either over the summer or junior year, start researching those other outside scholarships, where when they are become available, what their deadlines are, what they need to complete those, along with just visiting schools, colleges, going on as many tours as possible so you can kind of get a feel. Do you want to go to a big school, a smaller school? Even right now, you can do virtual tours on any college website pretty much. So those are out there, opportunities for everyone.
And right here. Okay, so if a scholarship does not say it is tuition based, can you assume that it could be used for fees and books and things like that? Like, how would you know?
That if it's tuition based, it would say distinctly that it's tuition based. If it doesn't say anything, then the school would normally put it towards after it would come after Say Yes, so it could be used towards your books and fees or room and board, things like that.
Okay, so the Say Yes scholarship covers tuition and does not include any fees that the college charges, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then you mentioned about academic probation. So say I was put on academic probation and then I did not get my GPA back up that semester, but I still maintained at that institution. But then the following semester, I was able to come back up to a 2.0 or higher. Would I be able to then regain my scholarship, or is it a loss?
Nope, you would get it back then. So if you lost your eligibility because you were 2 semesters in a row below that 2.0 or 12 credit hours, And that third semester, you wouldn't be eligible. But if you got it above, again, that 2.0 and 12 credit hours, you would regain your eligibility back and you would get that scholarship back. So you wouldn't lose it forever or anything like that. It would come back.
That's great. And then the Say Yes Scholarship normally kicks in after add drop week, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why, yes, none of our disbursements go out till that October 15th deadline.
Okay. Because I know when I worked in a high school, a lot of parents would call me and students would come, where's my Say Yes? So I just wanted to make that clear for our audience, just so you know.
And a lot
All
of
right.
our partners know that it doesn't come until then, especially the bigger schools, ECC, Buff State, a lot of the locals, they know if they're not going to get the Say Yes scholarship until then, but they'll put a holder in your account so it looks like it's there because they know how much you're going to be receiving by then.
Perfect. We appreciate your department being with us today. We appreciate April from the UB FAFSA Completion Project. We are going to forward the information about their office hours. I do need Nia back quickly. Can Nia rejoin me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, Nia. So I have a question from the audience. They want to know, do you feel that participating in more than Say Yes program makes you feel like a better scholar?
Definitely. When you can get the full scope of Say Yes, that's when you can truly understand how every facet of Say Yes works. I personally, right now I'm working in the scholarship department, so understanding the, for lack of better words, the corporate side of Say Yes helps me not only as a student, but as a prospective member of the future Say Yes family who can come back and regenerate more generations of Say Yes. It's better to understand that part, but also the community part. So when I'm doing the mentorship program and we're going out with my mentor and we're doing tabling and we're also doing these other events that help students get their own mentor, it's easier for you to network with children of your own age, but also tell your story to people who may be insightful about becoming a mentor themselves. And also, I feel like being a part of other Say Yes departments and knowing other people that are involved in many of the other Say Yes departments helps you get a better understanding of why we do what we do and how we do what we do.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I will just piggyback off of you. Say Yes has an array of opportunities and programs for students to get involved in. They're a wonderful organization to work for. So I am grateful for my Say Yes family. So we are here for you, open for everyone. We're going to continue our virtual college tour week. Speaking of Say Yes's programs, we have the mentoring department that will be with us tomorrow to give us a presentation, and so we can learn how to get more involved with that. And we'll start off the day with Hilbert from 2 to 3. Take a little break there. Niagara will be here, and then we'll close out the day with the Say Yes mentoring department. I appreciate everyone being here tonight with us. We're looking forward to finishing off the week strong, and we will see you tomorrow. Have a great night.